I am going to make some cold brew coffee. And what I like about cold brew coffee, you know what, I'm going to explain it a little more first. What I like about cold brew coffee is, one, it's super easy. So in the morning I don't have to boil any water, I don't have to portion out anything, I don't have to do anything. So I definitely like that, but it is different tasting. It's almost like sweeter. It's a totally different type of coffee. I would highly recommend at least just giving it a try, unless you like my mom and dad, unless you like just a cup of steaming hot black coffee with nothing. This isn't the same thing. But if you like the mocha, choca lattes and whatever, then give this a try. I strongly recommend a press, a coffee press. I believe it's also called a French press. My wife got this for me, figuring I might like it, and I was like, oh, that's nice. But I was totally fine with our Keurig. And then one day, I figured I would actually try it. And I tried it with hot coffee, and it is absolutely stunning, the difference. So, this was maybe 3 years ago, and I haven't had a cup of Keurig coffee in 3 years. It's just sitting on the counter in a corner. It's not even plugged in, nobody uses it. So anyway, I highly recommend getting one of these. So what I'm going to do now is pretty simple, and play around with different types of coffee. I have a certain type here. I don't want to get into trouble by mentioning what it is, I don't know. And then I have this little kind of coffee scoop, I think it's like a tablespoon or something. But again, you play around with the amounts of coffee that you use, you play around with the type of coffee that you use, play around with the amount of water that you put in, the whole thing. Okay, so I put it in, and it's sitting in the bottom. Now, I like to pour a little bit against the edge, because then it keeps all the coffee grounds in water from splashing up. So, pour in a little bit, not a lot, I don't know, 6 ounces, whatever. And then I'm just kind of swishing it to make sure that all the grounds get wet. Because if there's dry ground sitting on top, when you come back 12, 18, whatever, 20 hours later, the dry coffee grounds are still sitting on the top. They have like a real problem getting into this cold water. Okay, so I have it all mixed up and whatnot. Now, if I pour it in, it's obviously going to splash everywhere. So I use the spoon. Trying to see if it'll, there you go, you guys can see that. And I use the spoon to kind of help steer the water against the edge. Okay, so this comes out a little weaker than regular coffee, it seems to me. So, I fill it right up. Give it a quick little stir. And now it's all good to go into the fridge. So, I just stick it in the fridge, in the back somewhere where people won't disturb it, and just when I think of it 2 or 3 or 4 times during the day, I just kind of give it a little stir, get all the coffee grounds kind of mixing around. And that's really it. So I'm going to just stick this into the fridge, and tomorrow I will have a wonderful cup of cold brew coffee. Okay, it's the next morning, and as you can see, maybe the stuff's kind of, the coffee grounds kind of all floating and congealed on the top. I give it another little stir just to sort of break it all up. Throw that in the sink. So what I do is I do 2 heaping of these spoons of sugar. I have no idea how much that ends up being. So let's see, if we do grams, $38, 37 grams of sugar. So maybe it's a lot of sugar, but hey, it's a lot less than other options like sodas and things like that, and in different iced coffee drinks you would get at a coffee place. Okay, now I throw in a heaping spoonful of this and a little dash more of instant dry milk, because we are in a corona pandemic and fresh milk is not easily available. But usually I would put in less water here, make less of the cold brew coffee, and then add milk. But since I'm adding powdered milk, I could have just added a little water to the cup this morning, but I made extra coffee because, you know, it's the pandemic and nobody's sleeping well. So this will wake me up. So all I did was, I was yapping and forgot to explain what I was doing. All I did was push down the top, and you want to be kind of steady but slow, you know, just like about that speed, all the way, and then just give it a couple seconds to kind of any sediment to settle a little bit, and then you pour it in. So now all we do is stir it up. Dissolve the sugar and everything. And we have a big, huge cup of iced coffee. Delicious.